Welcome on board the Blue Water FPSO Aoka Mizu. This briefing explains the basic safety and emergency procedures that must be followed during your stay on board. Blue Water wish you a pleasant stay in a safe environment. We advise you take an active part in safety at work and follow the vessel safety rules. The Aoka Mizu is a floating production, storage and offloading vessel, or FPSO. The vessel is connected to the wellhead by an umbilical located at the forward end of the vessel. The vessel rotates around this connection, allowing it to normally face into wind. Blue Water take the safety and well-being of personnel on board very seriously. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Incidents are preventable and can be avoided. They don't just happen, they are caused. By working together as a team, we can ensure the vessel is a safe place to live and work for everyone on board. As with all oil and gas installations, major accident hazards for this vessel have been identified and assessed. The asset safety case contains full details of these major accident hazards, including those which can result in a major environmental incident. The safety case identifies the barriers, or SECEs, safety and environmental critical elements, in place to prevent, detect, control and mitigate these hazards. Your actions whilst on board in following company procedures, adhering to the permit to work system and reporting hazards are a key barrier in major accident hazard prevention. When you arrived, you were given an induction questionnaire, a declaration form and an emergency instruction information guide, which also details your cabin and bunk number, your safety constituency and your primary and alternative muster points. Keep this with you at all times. The forward temporary refuge is on 6 levels. On the top level are the bridge and control room. Next, E-Deck, which has offices and heli-admin. D-Deck has accommodation and the sick bay, as well as access to the lifeboats. C-Deck has accommodation and life rafts. On B-Deck, you'll find the galley and rec rooms. A-Deck has the locker rooms, laundry, gym and main access to the process plant. Following this video, you will be given a tour of the vessel and shown your muster points and lifeboat locations. On your tour, you will also see a number of instruction notices located throughout the vessel. Read them all carefully. You'll find the station bill on your emergency instruction information card and also on the inside of your cabin. It details emergency actions as well as the different alarms that will be transmitted throughout the vessel in an emergency. The vessel has 4 free-fall lifeboats located in front and behind the TR on each side of the vessel. Davit and throw-over life rafts with launching instructions and escape-to-sea ladders are provided as a means of escape. The life rafts can be deployed in 2 ways, manually thrown overboard or davit launched. If the decision is made to manually deploy the life raft, simply unlatch the straps and throw the life raft overboard. Pulling on this painter line will inflate the raft. Use the ladders to descend to the life raft. If the davit is to be used, unlatch the retaining straps and remove this flap to reveal the attachment shackle. Using the handle provided, rotate the davit across and attach the hook to the attachment shackle. The hook is locked in place by moving both levers up. If required, the line can be slackened by releasing the brake. Again, using the handle provided, raise the life raft from its cradle so it is above the handrail. Remove the handle and place into the davit slew point. Rotate the davit until the life raft is at the correct area for accessing. At this point, you should attach the bowsing lines at each end of the container to the handrails. Swing the raft overboard. Once the raft is over the side of the vessel, fully pull out the red webbing painter line to inflate the raft. Once all personnel are on board, the bowsing lines and painter lines should be released or cut before pulling on the descent handle to lower the raft to sea. The hook will automatically release once the raft is on the water. In your cabin, there's a grab bag for each occupant. The grab bag contains a smoke hood, flame and heat resistant gloves, a torch and a light stick. Remember to complete your grab bag checklist and return it to heli-admin within 1 hour of your arrival. If any items are missing, notify the safety advisor, who will have them replaced immediately. Your flight suit should be placed in your grab bag when you come on board. In the event of a muster and you are in or near your cabin, please bring your grab bag to your muster point. When departing the vessel, it's important to leave your flight suit in your cabin grab bag until you're told to collect it, immediately prior to departure. In your cabin, you'll find a copy of the Safety and Welfare Handbook. Always keep your room tidy with any valuables secured. Use deodorant sprays in the bathroom and keep the bathroom doors closed during showering to avoid setting the smoke alarm off. When you leave your cabin, close the door behind you. When moving about the accommodation, be considerate of those on night shift. Smoking is restricted to 2 designated areas on board. These will be pointed out to you. Mobile phones are permitted on board and there is Wi-Fi available. However, no mobile phones or smartwatches are permitted outside the accommodation. You must not leave your phone on charge unattended. Remember not to use your mobile phone when moving around the vessel, especially up and down stairs. Blue Water operates a no jewellery policy. Earrings, finger rings, in fact, any jewellery that presents a hazard shall not be worn at work. The only exceptions to this policy are non-metal strapped watches and open-ended copper bracelets worn for medical reasons. Slips, trips and falls are some of the most common incidents offshore, so be careful when moving about the vessel. Always keep at least one hand free for the handrail. In the event that an injury or illness does occur, there's a medic on board and the vessel has a sick bay with comprehensive facilities. All injuries and illnesses must be reported to your medic, irrespective of how minor they may appear. And remember, if you have any prescription medication, it must be declared to the medic when you come on board. The medic can be contacted on extension 459. Different alarms are transmitted throughout the vessel in an emergency. You'll find them detailed on the station bill. In noisy areas, the alarms are backed up by flashing lights. Alarms will always be followed by PA announcements, so listen carefully. This is the general alarm. In a general alarm situation, immediately stop what you are doing, make safe any equipment you are using, and unless you have emergency duties, go to your muster station. Non-essential personnel muster in either C-deck or D-deck muster point. The alternative muster points for these groups are located at the lifeboat stations on D-deck, port and starboard. Fire team members report to ERT base on A-deck, and emergency response team muster in the CCR. If you find yourself at the aft of the vessel and unable to reach your assigned muster point, there is an alternative muster point. At the muster point, turn your T-card over and follow the instructions from your muster checker. Never turn another person's card. If you are in or passing your cabin, take your grab bag with you. Remember to wear warm clothing. In the event of down manning by helicopter, once the muster is complete, you will be sent back to your room to collect your flight suit, then taken in groups to heli-admin prior to departure. This is the prepare to abandon alarm. On hearing this, and under direction from your muster checker, proceed to your assigned lifeboat station located on D-deck, port or starboard side. Each lifeboat station is also an alternative muster point. If the lifeboats are to be boarded, obey the instructions of the coxswain. Leave any loose equipment like helmets, radios and tools on the side prior to boarding. Carrying your life jacket, turn and enter backwards, taking care and using the seat headrests as handrails. Sit where you are told and strap yourself in. Place your life jacket underneath your knees. To don the life jacket, undo the waist and crotch clips and put on the jacket like a waistcoat. Attach the waist clip, locate the crotch strap and clip to this. Tighten as necessary. The waist belt can be tightened as required using the side straps. If you need to inflate the life jacket, pull either of the red toggles. Do not inflate your life jacket in the lifeboat. If you discover any incident, such as a gas leak, chemical spill, flooding, smoke, or fire, contact the control room by radio or by dialing the emergency number 222 immediately. If neither are possible, operate the nearest MAC alarm. In the case of fire, if there is no personal danger, tackle the fire with the nearest suitable equipment. Remember, different types of fire require different extinguishers. If someone falls overboard, remove a lifebuoy from its housing and throw it towards the person in the water. Point at the person in the water and call out, "Man overboard." Have someone contact the control room by radio or by dialing the emergency number 222 immediately. If neither are possible, operate the nearest MAC alarm. Keep the man overboard in sight at all times. The control room will initiate the rescue response. If you witness, come across, or are involved in a serious incident where someone has been injured, assess the risk, do what you can for the casualty, but do not move them unless there is immediate danger. Contact the control room by radio or by dialing the emergency number 222 immediately. If neither are possible, operate the nearest MAC alarm. Do what you can to keep the living quarters clean and tidy. Although coveralls are allowed in the accommodation, they are not allowed in cabins. Boot covers must be worn. Keep all work clothes in your locker. A high standard of personal hygiene must be maintained at all times. Always use the hand sanitizer in the mess room before eating. Make sure that your clothes are washed regularly. There is a net bag in your cabin for laundry. This should be placed in the laundry on A deck. Coveralls are to be fed through the letterbox. Before bagging up clothes for the laundry, always check your pockets for any tools or objects, as these can cause equipment damage, fire, or injure laundry personnel. When you depart the vessel, remember to strip your bedding and take it down to the laundry, along with any used towels. The vessel has a gym on board. A safety brief will be given during your induction tour. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, must be worn at all times outside the accommodation. This means a minimum of fire retardant coveralls, safety footwear, safety helmet, glasses, gloves and hearing protection. Make sure you wear your coveralls over your boots. Additional hearing protection should be worn in all areas where signs indicate the need. Specific protective clothing must be worn dependent on the work you are doing. This will be detailed in your work permit instructions and task risk assessment. For certain jobs, a red hot, hot or cold work permit, a confined space entry certificate, and/or an isolation certificate will be required. If you have to use a permit, you will be given training. Before starting work, make sure you understand and follow all conditions of the permit. If in doubt, ask. If you are uncertain if a work permit is required for a specific job, ask your supervisor. As part of the integrated safe system of work, each task will require a task risk assessment to be completed. Even if you have carried out a similar task recently, review the assessment and operating procedures. Something may have changed. A toolbox talk will be carried out for all tasks with the work party and recorded. Jobs which continue from one shift to the next must follow the approved handover procedure. Effective shift handovers are an integral part of any safe operation. Those responsible for completing handover reports will be given instruction. Prevention of incidents is given very high priority by Blue Water. One of the most effective preventative measures is good housekeeping, tidy workplaces, clear walkways and safety exits, and clean deck surfaces. Extreme care must be taken when you are in the vicinity of cranes and hoists. Never walk or work underneath suspended loads and make sure all barriers are obeyed. A system of colour coding is in operation for lifting equipment. Only use equipment that displays the current colour. A banksman will be designated for all lifts and he will have no other duties at this time. If you have any doubts about any piece of lifting equipment, do not use it but report it immediately to your supervisor. For manual lifting, assess the weight of the load. Never lift an awkward or heavy load by yourself. Get someone to help you or use appropriate equipment. We don't want you to injure your back, and neither do you. Make sure that a manual handling assessment has been completed before starting. Pay attention to all barriers and signs. They are there for a reason, so keep away. Blue Water operates an observation reporting system. If you identify any unsafe condition or action, please fill in an observation card. In addition, you can use the idea cards to highlight any improvements that could be made. These cards are reviewed by management and the safety committee, and any feedback is posted on the notice board. Vessel management welcome everyone's input on improving safety on board. When engaged in any task, be alert to changes in working conditions. This could be a change in the weather, new personnel joining a work group, in fact, anything which affects the safe continuation of the job in hand. Remember TOFs, time out for safety. If you have any concerns about the work being carried out, stop. Take time out and assess the impact of these changes. Remember, everyone has the right to intervene and stop any job they feel is unsafe. Minimising our impacts on the environment we work in is a key commitment of the Blue Water HSEQ policy. Care must be taken to prevent anything going to sea that has not been properly assessed and approved on the FPSO environmental permits. If you observe a spill to sea, oil on the sea surface, or any object in the sea that should not be there, report this to the control room as soon as possible. When handling chemicals, always wear appropriate protection and adhere to the COSH assessment controls, which will form part of your permit. Chemicals used on the FPSO will be on the approved FPSO chemical permit. If you are using a chemical for any non-routine job, ensure it has been approved for use. If unsure, ask your supervisor. Never use the drains for the disposal of liquids. Always use the waste stations. Any chemicals which enter the drains will end up in the sea. In addition, any oil going in the non-recoverable section of the drains will also end up in the sea. Make sure you dispose of any liquid wastes properly. Proper management of waste generated on the vessel is vital for our health and safety, and for the good of the environment that surrounds us and our families. All waste is carefully segregated to ensure its disposal poses the minimum risk to people and the environment. Never throw anything overboard and always place rubbish in the correct skip or container. That concludes this part of your safety induction. Remember, the station bill details all the emergency instructions. Read them, and if you have any doubts, contact your supervisor or safety advisor. Emergency drills and exercises are held regularly. Treat them as the real thing. They are conducted for your safety. No jewellery of any kind, and only wear watches with plastic straps. No mobiles or smartwatches outside the accommodation. Never walk under suspended loads. Learn how to use and implement the observation and idea cards. Remember, everyone has the right to intervene and stop any job or action they feel is unsafe or if there is any doubt. This vessel is a safe place to live and work and will remain so if everyone follows the rules. So, think safety and act safely at all times. Ask if you don't know or are unsure about anything. Remember, our work is never so urgent or important that we cannot take the time to do it safely. Enjoy your stay on board.